Okay, so everybody, I just wanted to say welcome. This is a SAM Labs 101. It's a guide for all new teachers. So everybody that is starting to use SAM Labs this year, it's an abbreviated kind of version of what you will receive when you do your level 1 training with whoever is your customer success manager. So it's going to be kind of a shortened version of it. I set an alarm because I was an educator, and if I don't set an alarm, I get lost in my thoughts in the process. So I set an alarm for 5:45 Eastern, which is my time. So in 45 minutes, we're going to stop, and you'll have a chance to ask questions and let me know kind of what your thoughts are. However, this is really informal. I always run my meetings where you can interrupt me at any time and ask a clarifying question or want to see something again. Just let me know. And then we can kind of go through all of the basics with you. Now, I also am over prepared. So my slideshow is huge just in case. But what I did was I looked in, I'm going to admit Rachel. Hi, Rachel. I looked in the people that registered, and it seems like for the majority of you are at elementary. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. So that will kind of tailor a little bit about what I go over so that we're not spending time going over a lot of middle school resources. If that's not the case, you can let me know and I can touch base with the middle school stuff, but I don't want to take up your time talking about something that's not applicable for you. So I wanted to start by having us kind of introduce ourselves. If you could, I'm going to ask that you tell us your name and just your role, state and school or school district that you're working at, and then what you're hoping to get out of today's session so I can make sure that we touch upon any of those topics. I've got my handy dandy pen, and I am a Post-it queen. I write everything down on Post-its. You should see the landscape of my office is just a sea of Post-it. Now, that can be good and bad because sometimes I forget to look at the Post-its, but I have a Post-it here. So anything that you guys want to get to, I want to make sure that we touch upon. So I'm going to go through on my list here, just kind of in order. I'm going to start with Sean. Your name is Sean, but if you could tell us your role in the school and kind of what you're hoping to get out of today.
Yeah, I'm a STEM instructor for the Crown Point School District at Eisenhower Elementary, and we see all grades through our setup. And I'm not new to it, but I was hoping maybe listening to this, I might see things that I hadn't thought of.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'm glad you're here. And we are unveiling, you get a good sneak peek of our new K-5 integrated lessons that we are coming out with in the next couple weeks. And our new layout for SAM. So it'll be a refresher for you and a little bit of
Nice.
a new thing. Yeah, that's great. Well, it's nice to meet you, Sean. Ashlyn.
All right. I'm Ashlyn. I currently teach Spanish, kindergarten through fifth grade. We are going to start switching every 9 weeks between Spanish and SAM Labs. So I am just here to learn all that I can because my crash course with Miss Bell was informative, but very fast paced. So I'm just looking to kind of absorb what I can out of this.
Supplement, right? Supplement what you already kind of know. Yeah, and at any point, if you want to say, "Hey, Lauren, can we look at that again?" or "Oh, I'm having this issue," please let me know, and reach out at any point. Okay, sounds good. Dawn, over to you, my friend.
Well, I'm Don. I teach second grade here at Tootle Lake, and I'm hoping just to get a little more familiar with it and see what else I can pick up.
Wonderful. Have you used Sam in your classroom yet?
Just a little bit. We had some training last year, and I opened it up a little bit in my class towards the end of the year, but not enough to feel comfortable yet. So,
Wonderful. Well, I'm glad you're here.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and then let's go with Michelle because they have their sound figured out.
All right, so I'm Michelle and I'm a teacher, second grade. I did STEM labs a little bit when I taught high cap class, and we have them for our high cap kids. And so I just wanted to kind of figure that out again. It's been several years since I've done it. So
Well, good. I'm glad that you're here. And you guys, anybody that after today is like, ooh, I kind of know what Lauren was talking about already, and I just need something different. We do have an elementary refresher workshop that is also something that you might want to register for so that you can get the recording of that as well.
oh, okay. I was gonna
Yeah.
say, I couldn't do that class because it's during class time.
Oh yeah, you've attended in person here, so as long as you do the survey, you're good. And then you can always go back to that recording. So you register for it just so that you have it, and then you can go back to that recording for the refresher as well. And I actually recommend that for anybody that is going to be launching off from this one, because it is going to be an abbreviated, kind of shortened overview. They'll be able to go a little bit more in depth in the refresher in the elementary, because it's assuming that you already know what I'm about to tell you.
But I don't know if I would know.
Well, nobody knows everything. So, all right, Holly. Can I unmute you to help you? I wonder. I don't think I can. It's okay, Holly. Do you teach elementary school? Okay. Are you in the South? Oh, awesome. Okay. So we just make sure that we're touching on elementary topics, and then you guys you'll know who your customer success rep is. So if you have any follow-up questions, you can ask them. Sound good? Awesome. Okay, Rachel.
I'm a librarian media specialist in a middle school, so we cover 5th, 6th, and 7th. And I know that like one of the elementary schools in our district's already using these, like with 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and we're wanting to bring some up to our higher grade levels.
Wonderful. So you're going to get students and kiddos who are already exposed to it. So you're trying to kind of catch up with that too.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. So there is also a secondary education refresher too that you might want to attend after this if you have kind of like your bearings after we talk. That might be helpful as well to register for, so you can get the video of that.
So is the elementary K through 5? Or
yes, K through
okay.
5. Yep.
And then the secondary would be 6. Okay.
Yep, 6, 7, 8. Yep.
All right.
And I don't think we have any we do have high school people, like we have high school implementations, but I don't think we have any in this call. So yeah, and if there's anything that you want to know that's more middle school based, if I'm too elementary centric, you can let me know, or we can meet at a different time too.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yes.
All right. Mike?
Unmute, sorry. I'm Mike. I'm in right outside of Chicago, Illinois, and I'm new to this because I just took over as the library media specialist from 5th grade. So we have Sam Lab stuff, but our teacher last year really didn't use any of it. So I want to try to bring in at least some of it into this year. So
Oh, wonderful. So that we always have like standalone lessons and activities. We've got maker challenges and things like that. That will be really good for our library. That is awesome. And then we have, is it Danita? Or Danita? Danita? It's okay. Can't hear.
Right there. Sorry, I could not find the unmute button. I apologize.
Don't worry about it.
So, yeah, I just go by Mrs. T for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah. So I apologize for jumping in late. I'm at a teacher workshop this week, and
Don't
I
you
mean, I just segued from being out there and running across the building to being in here. So
Hey, we're
I
all trying to
apologize.
just make it. Do not worry. Do not worry at all. And what school are you at, and where are you located?
Okay, Manna House in Vancouver, Washington. And I was just listening to Mike speak. I am the librarian, and last year I taught STEAM to kinders and first. This year I'm now teaching STEAM all the way up through elementary and into sixth grade. So yeah, pretty new to this whole program, but willing to learn whatever I can.
Oh, good. Well, we're so glad that you're here. So welcome, welcome. And then I think I got everybody but Michael, and I'm not sure if Michael's able to share. But Michael, if you can, let us know where you teach. Okay, I'm going to skip Michael. I don't want to put Michael on the spot. All right. So a little bit of an introduction to me. So I am one of the customer success managers here at Sam Labs. And I was actually a visual art teacher for 15 years. I taught 5 in elementary and 10 in middle, and then started doing digital art and STEAM as an elective. So I started doing STEAM in my art classroom, and then it became its own elective. And I've been working in the ed tech space now for about the past 3 years. So that's a little bit about me. I am from Plymouth, Massachusetts. So I cover the Northeast region, but we're all a big team here. So if after this you have a question and you want to reach out to me, you're more than welcome to, and I can loop in your customer success representative at the same time. So we all just want to make sure that everybody is successful. Along that thread, we have this handy dandy, very fancy map. So I am up here, but you can locate your state, and then that will tell you who your representative is. So we've got Joel, who's fantastic. He used to be a kindergarten teacher, and he is covering the Northwest and part of California. Then we have Melinda, who is right there. And then we have Alyssa, who's more central. So she, like the Crown Point, that would be Alyssa. And then Mackenzie is the Southeast. So if you want, and you haven't heard from your customer success person, you want to write down their email really quick, I'm going to give you a second to do that. I don't think I have any of my people actually in here, right? Nobody's in the Northeast. Oh, I'm spreading the Northeastern love. I'm actually originally from Ohio. I'm really originally from Athens, Ohio. And then I moved to the Northeast in like 2006. So it's been a while. So I'm kind of straddle both areas. Everyone good? Okay. So a little bit about what we're going to do is I'm going to just introduce you to Sam Labs in general. And oh, somebody moved to New Hampshire. I love New Hampshire. I'm going to introduce you a little bit to Sam Labs. This is for brand new teachers, so I'm taking into account that you might not have ever used it or know about who we are. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what is in your kit that is at your school or in your district. A little bit about each of the pieces that are in there and what they do. And then kind of some best practices. And then I'm going to introduce you to exploring the curriculum and where to find things. But the most important thing is we're going to take a tour of the SAM studio. So where kiddos are going to be coding and how to pair your blocks, because that's going to get you to really make your codes come to life. We all know that STEM and STEAM are super important, especially because we are preparing our students to be able to go into those careers. There's not going to be almost a single career that's not going to incorporate some sort of STEM or STEAM learning. So we really want to make sure that they are prepared for that. One of the best things about SAM Labs is that you will have students, we all have them, you know, the ones that are like taking off, that are basically speaking in Java and Python. They look through the back of like every website. They want to just code, code, code. We have a platform for them. We have a language for them, a coding language for them, along with those kiddos that are like, I don't know about this. I've never coded before and I'm uncomfortable. Maybe we are in that space and we're just learning too. So everything that we do can progress to be able to really fit the needs of those students. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's in your kit. Everybody gets a STEAM classroom kit when they're first starting. So some of the kits have been teal at one point. They might be purple, but either way, they basically come with a tray like this of supplies. They come with 10 of these. So the idea of this is that they could technically outfit a 30 student class with like 3 students sharing a tray. Do these look familiar to everybody? A little bit? Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what's in here, and we can kind of discuss best practices around that or some ideas around that as well. These trays come with 2 wheels. They have these little rubber edges. These are great for when you're building cars. They are also useful for wind turbines. You can actually design paper blades that go right onto it. Or I made a spinner wheel out of mine, and they go on the 2 DC motors, DC motors that come in this tray. So the 2 DC motors have an external axle piece. This is the part that is a little bit more delicate because it's external, but these DC motors turn in 360 degrees. So that's going to help with your wheels, right? Or your wind turbines. And each one of these blocks comes with a kind of brick piece. So these are compatible with Lego. If you have a bunch of Legos running around, you can build directly on these pieces. If they become kind of a pain in the buns, you can take them off and put them somewhere else. I've seen teachers who have big bags of these pieces because it just became crazy and they didn't want to keep separating them, and it was tricky to charge their blocks with them on. It's up to you guys, right? You know your classrooms and you know your students best. But these DC motors are going to be doing all of the rotating there. The other thing that you have in that tray is an RGB LED light. This is going to shine very brightly. So, you know, if you have those students, you're probably pretty sure that they look at solar eclipses. They're going to be like, right? So I would just make sure that they know that these are bright. And the RGB stands for red, green, and blue, but different combinations of those will make all the colors in the spectrum. So I'm going to show you guys how you can edit this or customize it so that if you're making, let's say, a traffic light, you have one light that is green, yellow, and another one that's red. We have schools that do big kind of like keystone projects of amusement park rides, and they want to put one of these different light on each kind of like Ferris wheel, or we have a campfire lesson where you can do yellow, orange, and red. So you can really change these up, and they're useful for that. And we have a light sensor. This light sensor is going to look like a little LED light. I know it's hard. I always try to wear black so people can see, but it's kind of tricky. There's a little LED light on here. And when it's connected to the platform through the Bluetooth, it will be able to read the ambient light in a room. So for example, if you're near a window, it will read higher, or a light bulb, it will read higher. If you cover it up, it will read 0. So when you're introducing some of these blocks to students, sometimes it's fun to have them, connect it and then try to do almost like a scavenger hunt of where the darkest areas of a room are and where the lightest areas of the room are, because it actually reads that ambient light in real time, which is really fun. I actually did an in-person on-site with a teacher last week, and she had come up with kind of like a game where she had a different sound and a different light from the RGB light if the kids hit that exact measurement of ambient light. So it was like kind of like kids were running around and trying to do this, and I hit it and I was like, oh, I'm so excited. So I went like this and it started going dee-doo, dee-doo, dee-doo. And it was like making all of the lights flash. So that was kind of fun. I thought that was really neat. The other thing you have are these Lego compatible gear wheels, and you have a rolly ball. You have these 3D printed pieces, these plastic pieces that come with it. This is the car controller, but it can also hold these blocks in there if you wanted to have like a light station and out. It also is brick top compatible, so you can use the Legos on there. This is the yellow car chassis. So there's a lesson where students can design their own cars. And you can print them off with, I would always say, like, you know, tag board or like cardstock. You want to print it off in a little bit of tougher paper than just copy paper, but they can color them and then they fit into these little ridges here and they become a car. So then the wheels, the DC motors sit here with the wheels on the sides and they have a car. I have a school that does a food truck project where they build food trucks and then they design them. So they have like a marketing strategy, they have a menu, they have to discuss price and all of that, and then make it smart and eco-friendly. So it turns off certain areas. It has different lights that can go into it and sound effects that go off on it. And so that's really cool. Everybody wants to know what that little ridge is, but it's so that they can prototype around it. All right. So any questions about what comes in those trays? Good. Okay. The other thing is, if you are an elementary implementation, so if you're at elementary school, you probably have also a maker kit, at least one. So in the maker kit, everybody gets at least one example of all of the blocks that we have here at SAM Labs. So if there's a lesson that wants to use a slider, not only can you still build that code on the platform, but you can actually use a real slider and connect it. So in the maker kit comes with buttons. So instead of pushing a button virtually, they could push the button physically. RGB, an extra RGB light, a proximity sensor. So you're sensing when things are close or far away. Heat sensor, sensing if there's heat. Buzzer, the buzzers are really loud, but there's a buzzer. Tilt sensor, so sometimes when you have built a car, you can attach a tilt sensor and you can turn the iPad or the Chromebook into an actual kind of steering device of the car. Pressure sensor, we had somebody come up with carnival games and they put a pressure sensor on a chalkboard eraser, and whoever could squeeze it the tightest got X amount of points and one X amount of tickets. Like I said, a slider. You have extra DC motors and then a servo motor. So the difference between a DC motor and a servo motor is that a servo motor goes in 180 degrees. So think about like a windshield wiper or a robot arm. So they're going in a different direction there. We've got more wheels and then micro bits, which are like mini computer screens that actually flash, whether it's letters or writing. They can actually flash like a ghost if you wanted to make like a Halloween game, a beating heart. So they're in that maker kit as well, along with some other accessories like chassis and roller balls. Everyone good? I know I'm just going through it. So if you have any questions or want to stop me, please let me know. For middle school, they have some extra STEAM Plus kit materials that go along with their curriculum. And so they have, additional pieces in there and more of them that are there included in the middle school. So you guys also should have a charging station. That's going to be that like all-in-one gray charging station. It looks kind of like this. Ooh. And it's a ton of micro USBs on here. And these micro USBs are probably the most fragile part of your blocks. There's a little bit holding on to them because there's a lot of good stuff inside. So there's not a lot holding on to them. So when you're charging, we do say that it's probably easier to kind of roll that block onto the charging block. So we've got our little GIFs or GIFs there that kind of demonstrate that for charging. This charging station fills every single block that is in your classroom kit. You can charge it all at once. Once you do the initial charge, depending on how long you guys have had your kits or if you've even unboxed them, once you do your initial charge, which takes about an hour or 3 hours to do, once that initial charge is done, it only takes 45 minutes for those blocks to charge back up. That's important because they also last up to 8 hours. And I'm talking like 8 hours continual use, like somebody is there turning them on all the time. So you're not trying to scramble in between classes to recharge your blocks. They should last a whole school day. Then we always recommend that grown-ups and adults and teachers be the one to charge the blocks. Because, you know, you'll get those kiddos that are really excited and just rip them off of there. So we always make sure that adults are probably the ones that are charging those blocks. But like I said, once they're charged up and they do that initial charge, it only takes 45 minutes. So at the end of the day, you can plug them back in. They'll be all set for the following day, school day. The other thing that you guys have in your classroom kits are these. This is not the technical term, I don't think, but I don't know. I call them squid chargers because I think they look like little squids. But you have these squid chargers and these will hook directly into a regular USB. So if you have like one of those hubs and you have a bunch of places that you can do, you can hook all of these blocks up into that as well. Some people like that charging system a little bit better. It's totally your choice. So there's also a checklist that's included on things just to get you started. We always have best practices when it comes to being able to attach the wheels to the DC motors. They are in the shape of a D, so that'll have like a flat edge and a curved edge, and you want to line those up. There's also a spacer on what the wheels. So one has a flat edge and one has this like little bump. You want those to be going in closer to your DC motor. I wanted to always share and kind of showcase some of the projects that our students have made. Please always share what is going on in your classrooms because it's really fun for us to see what's happening and really exciting to see the blocks come to life in these prototypes. So we've got marble runs and pinball games. These cars are reading the lights of the traffic light and redirecting. This system up here on the top left is actually like a warning system, an alarm system for the 3 little pigs to tell them if a wolf is coming. And it like flashes lights and makes lots of crazy noises. And so that's really cool. And I just like to see that. I always like to also show students what people have done so that they get excited, because sometimes when they're going through the starter lessons, which is what we always recommend, they're like, yeah, but what are we going to do with these? You know, they don't want to build the foundation always. They want to always they want to pick out the tile and do all the fancy stuff to the house before actually pouring the foundation of how to use the blocks. And so sometimes I kind of like to give them a preview. All right. Any questions so far? We're good? Okay. So I want to give you guys a tour of Sam Studio and Sam Space. And it's going through kind of a transition right now. So you actually are in a really good time because we are about to preview kind of like the new setup. and the new space for being able to drag and drop your blocks and pair them and make them come to life. All of those systems that you've built. So I've got both up here now, so you guys get the sneak peek. For the new space, it'll pop up like this. Your students will have their own sign-in, and they will have their own projects in this space, as well as you guys. So you will, as their teachers, will have your own projects in this space. When you go to create a new project, you can create a new SAM space project. You can create a new SAM space project. And then it opens up into this kind of workspace flow. We're going to just talk about SAM space. Sam Blockly and Sam script will come later if you are in one of those more advanced implementations. But for right now, everybody's going to be working in SAM space at least once. So I wanted to go over kind of this workspace. So over here on the right, you guys can see my workspace, right? Yep, good, okay. Over here on the right, we've got a setting to zoom in or zoom out. Some of these systems get really big, and so that's really helpful. The other thing that you have over here is going to be a filter. This will allow any of your students who might be English as a second language student and might want to have a workspace in their native language. They can change the language of the workspace, which is super helpful. They're already trying to learn so much. Sometimes this is a really nice kind of opening of a gate for to be able to learn. The other thing is you're going to probably have students who like to push the buttons and change the settings, flip it to something that they may not understand, and you're going to have to know how to flip it back. So that would be at the top. We've got settings, and you can change that back. The other thing is if you're working with younger age students and you're only using the classroom kit that we just kind of talked about, you might want to be switching to the K1 simple workspace. What this does is it only includes the inputs and the outputs that are in the kit. So if I take that setting off, it will show me all of the blocks ever created that we use, and it gets overwhelming for some students. Some students might need some different differentiation when it comes to what they see visually, and so that is helpful as well. Down here, we have lists of inputs. I always like to think about inputs as like an if and an if then statement. So if I press this space bar, then this will happen. So we have inputs, and all you do is to start a system, you just drag and drop it in this space. If you want to duplicate something, you just click it and you can copy it. If you want to get rid of something, you just click it and exit out. And if you want to change the setting of something, you can click on it and you go to this gear. And then for this button, this input, you can change whatever key on the keyboard that you're using. If you are using an iPad, some people are like, oh, I don't have a keyboard, I'm using an iPad. Then it would be this play button instead of this space bar. So I'm clicking my own space bar, I'm holding it down, it's getting grayed out. So you can see that in real time, the change that happens there. For outputs, that's the then this will happen. So I'm going to drag my sound player here. And the way to make a simple system is to connect the flow. And the way you do that is you click, hold, and drag it to the next button, and you've got that. So if I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear my sound, but if I hit that space bar, then a sound will sound. A sound will happen. And then when we're looking at the different settings of the sounds, this is kind of what I like to have like students explore around with. They can change the different setting of a sound, and there are so many different ones from different music. So you can actually make different musical tones. Like there's a compose a song lesson where you are, I think, composing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. But they will oftentimes find the toilet flush and the fart sound first. And it's always really fun to just let them get it out of their system. Like, here's how we drag and drop it. see what sounds we can come up with, because they will find them and it's always a riot. So I just get that out and let them do it, let them do their thing. Now these are like we have virtual blocks and physical blocks. These are virtual blocks. I don't have anything matched up or connected yet. These are things that we can do without the kits even involved. And so if you're thinking about like classroom management, sometimes people are like, I'm going to wait until they build their system. And then once I check it, then I give them their tray of blocks, so that you're kind of spacing that out. Some people like to have builders, and then materials managers, and then code, like all of those things. You can have different jobs for your students. So like I said, there's physical blocks and then there are virtual blocks. Right now we're just working in virtual blocks. But if I were to take the light sensor and bring it up here, right now I'm kind of controlling the ambient light that it sees. Ashlyn back. Okay, so if I go up to the light sensor, like I said, I am just kind of controlling the ambient light that it reads. If I were to connect it, it would read it in real time. If I change the output to the RGB LED and drop that in there and connect those two things, then what I can do is I can see, oh, okay, that light is going to shine when that is really bright. I can see it on my screen here. But I want to kind of change that. So I'm going to add a behavior. Each one of these are files that open up to more options. There's a block directory that kind of gives you a cheat sheet of what all is included in there. For time's sake, I'm going to take this and I'm going to make it, let's say 15. Okay. So if I wanted it to be light out, and the street lights come on, then that's what this would do. But that doesn't really make any sense. If I wanted a street light to come on when it was dark out, I'm going to have to change it. So how do I change it? All right, then I go here and I go here. And then, all right, so if it gets darker out, then the street lights come on. So you can kind of workshop it with your students and have them problem solve in real time. Now, if I'm going to connect my blocks, on each of your blocks on the top will be like this little, like kind of button. It's kind of like, it's very fancy and intuitive. There's nothing on the surface, but you can click and hold it down. And then when you're pairing blocks, they will turn red and you can go down here to connect. And then you can pair your blocks directly here. Now, some of your kits will have pairing IDs written on the back of them. If they were purchased before the pairing IDs came on, you're going to need to write them on the back of them. And then students can put that 4-digit code right into that pairing ID and be able to pair only their blocks. Now, this is going to be important because if you're using Bluetooth in a classroom, it's going to communicate with each other, right? One person's computer is going to communicate with another person's computer and the Bluetooth is going to get all crazy. I found that out when I taught digital art and I got wireless mice and it took me the first 20 minutes to link in Susie's mouth with Tommy's screen and switch them up. So the best thing is to be able to label them with that 4-digit code if they're not already labeled, and I will we can send out a resource, or your customer success person will have a resource where you can see where to find that information. But right now they're paired. So now, instead of being outlined blocks like they are here, they are shaded in. So I know that they are paired. So I have my RGB LED and my light sensor. So this light sensor, if I hold it near my light bulb, you can see on my screen, it reads in real time that it's at 100. Windows a little bit less. And then if I cover it up, my RGB light goes on. So right now I took a system that I made with virtual blocks and I created it in real time. And you can prototype around that, but that's the basic system. Now I told you could change this color. So if you click on any of these blocks and you go to settings, what it will do is it will give you a color picker. So So you can change the color that you want that light to be. So instead of yellow, it can be purple or any other color. You can also change the brightness for those people that need to change the brightness of the color of the RGB. And so that's just a quick rundown of some inputs, some outputs, and some behaviors to make these blocks come to life, and a really quick rundown on how to pair. In SAM, we have not just our space, but we also have our content hub. The way that it's set up now is all of our curriculum is here in this space, and we break things down into starter lessons. There are spots for teacher resources. There are drop-down menus to search based off of your grade level, what course you're going to be starting with. And the newer interface that's going to be coming out is also going to have that same content that we know and love, but it's going to be in a more streamlined. So this is the sneak peek that you guys are going to be getting. We're going to have up here staff favorites. You can favorite different lessons, so you can favorite them. And you can also scroll down to see the different categories. Getting started with SAM Labs is where you all are going to want to start. They are grade banded starter lessons. I would, if it were me, I would go through those starter lessons myself to get kind of a grasp of what to do. And then you can introduce them to your students. So for example, this is the K-1 starter lesson. You can also go up here to courses and go to teacher resources. That's helpful. So the starter lessons are all here for the teachers. Also, every grade level has their own resource pack. So if you're wanting to look at, let's say 4th grade STEAM resources, it comes with an alignment map. We do NGSS, CCSS, ELA, Math Standards, Common Core. All of those alignment maps are there for you, along with a medium-term planning guide, which allows you to kind of go through each lesson and see what the system's going to look like, what the prototype might look like, step by step for you. In the elementary level, here's the block directory. Like I said, it kind of goes through all of the blocks that we have, what they do. Sometimes people will just print out these different block directory kind of slides and have students just kind of experiment with the different blocks. That's always an option as well. And we've got our lesson overviews here. Some of the elementary lessons come with a Nearpod lesson that's attached to it as well. And so you can kind of get lost in all of these different resources. Reach out to your customer success person to kind of tell them what you'd like to hit first. But either way, whether you're K-8, you're going to start with the starter lessons to just get your students familiar with using the blocks. And it's helpful for yourself as well. And you can favorite them. That was a lot of information. I don't think I've ever heard myself talking that stretch of time at once. What questions can I answer for you guys, knowing that this was a very short introduction? What questions do you guys have? And it's okay to be like, Lauren, that was really overwhelming. Thank you so much, but I think I'm going to need to think about it. Okay, so your level 1 training that you do with your customer success person will go through this in depth, and you'll be able to build more of a curriculum plan. So when your customer success person says, all right, it's time to sign up for your level 1, that's a whole hour and a half of you really sitting down and kind of going through this slowly. If you've already gone through your level 1 and you want to go back over some things, reach out to your customer success person, your representative, and say, hey, I saw this when I did my SAM 101. Can we look back at this? I think I need some extra help with this. Okay, our whole job is to help you guys and make sure that you feel good and successful. And so that we can answer anything for you. Okay. Everyone good? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I have a question. The next step is following up with our representative from our region, and we coordinate with them on getting our next course. We don't sign up for it ourselves like we did for this one.
You can sign up for like the elementary refresher if you'd like. And yes, I will be sending you the slideshow.
Okay.
I will be sending you the slideshow so you can go through and kind of see more in depth of like where the lesson plans are. But you can also sign up for the elementary refresher, which is going to touch upon certain things. But my best advice is to reach directly out to your customer success person and say, I got a preview in the SAM 101 workshop. When can we make time to go more in depth? I'm going to be doing this. This is my implementation, and they will schedule you right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They are going to be your person. They're your teammate. You know, just like I am for my region. If they need anything when it comes to rostering, if they want to do interactive lessons and they don't know how to assign, that's our job. That's our role, is to be there for you guys. So anything that you need, they will help you. Yep. All right. Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to turn off the recording.